Good morning, class. Today is Tuesday, April 7th, and I hope you had a happy and safe and productive weekend. Over the weekend, you were supposed to find your last annotation works cited needed for your annotated bibliography, which was the court case. And as of right now, I haven't been contacted by anyone who's had trouble finding one, so I'm assuming you all found it and you're doing great. However, I'm recording this video prior to the moment when it's due. So that may change. If it does, just I'll figure it out when it does. All right, so for today and this week, I told you we were going to tighten up your annotated bibliography. And I know some of you don't know what I meant by that. And what I meant was, since you should be done as of the moment you're watching this video, you should have all your sources and you should have done all the works cited information for them, and you should have done an annotation of some sort with every source. And you only need 5 sources. So I'm assuming that you're all at that point. If you're not there yet, then you're behind. As of right now, you're behind. And as you know, it's going to be hard to catch up, but we got to keep moving, and I have faith that you can do it. So to tighten up an annotated bibliography, we're going to focus on the annotations first. And today we're just going to focus on one annotation, and that's going to be your nonfiction book. So when you go into the instructions for today, you're going to notice that it's super long. It's a lot longer than it usually is. And that's because I gave you all the things that you need to fix your annotation for the nonfiction book. I gave it all to you today in the instructions. And there's a lot of stuff that's needed in there. So for the annotated bibliography annotation, just for the nonfiction book, we'll focus on just that today. You'll notice when you go into the instructions, there's a list of 10 things. All of these 10 things have to be there. Number 1, you have to choose a full-length book. That's probably a given. 2, the book has to be nonfiction. Easy, you already did that. 3, the book has to be less than 10 years old, which we already discussed that. You already did that. And then we're going to get into 4 through 10, which is things that go into the annotation. So please look over all of these things. We're looking at things like you explain who the author is, why they're a useful source. You identify the original publication and the audience. It's important that you indicate who the author's audience for the book is. They want you to explain why this is the author's source of kairos and exigency. You got to do that. You got to explain how the source contributes to the success of your overall project, which is your RPA. You got to summarize the relevant claims, which is what you've basically been doing. So number 8, where it says summarize all of the relevant claims and the source accurately and efficiently, that's what you pretty much have already done. It's all this other stuff that you have to do. Number 9 deals with MLA formatting for the works cited, which you've already done. And number 10, it just makes sure that it's written, you write it smoothly and there's not a lot of distracting mechanical errors, which you pretty much have done. So basically 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 are the things you majorly need to focus on. All right, so after you look at the 10 things, I gave you an example of what an annotated bibliography looks like. Well, the annotated works cited portion for the nonfiction book. So as you read this, you'll notice that I highlighted some stuff in yellow. So if you read the whole thing, which you really need to read the whole thing, you'll notice I says on this part, notice how the author indicates who the audience is. Notice how he introduces the author's main claim. Notice how he expands on the argument. Notice how he gave the author's credentials. Notice how he summarizes the relevant claims. And finally, notice how he indicated how this source will help his RPA. That's probably the most important part, because if you're bringing in a works cited, you need to be bringing it in because it's going to be useful to your RPA. And if you can't explain why, then you shouldn't be using that source. So anyway, that seems like a lot. When you're looking at it and you see these 10 things that have to go in there, it seems like a lot. But if you look at the example I gave you, it's a paragraph. So the whoever wrote this particular example managed to do all of that in one paragraph, and it's really not that difficult. So look at the example. All right, so this week you're going to have 2 grades. One, you're going to have to do just your nonfiction AB, which it needs to be done by Wednesday night, April 8th by 9 p.m. So just fix that one. And the reason why I'm asking you to fix one is so I can look at it to make sure you're on the right track before you start fixing all the rest of them. And then as we get further in this, the other grade that's going to be due this week is, I think Friday night, you're going to submit your most recent rough draft of the AB again. So both of the grades for this week are going to be your AB, and they're just going to be updated drafts of it as you work on it. Also, if you need help or you have questions at any time, send me an email. Let me know you want to connect for tutoring, and I'll schedule a time where we could meet on Zoom. I'll try to do it within 5 minutes of you sending an email, but if I'm not around a computer, then I'll just let you know, hey, how about this time? And we can connect on Zoom. We can see each other face to face, so we actually can see each other's face, and I can explain whatever you're struggling with. All right, so yeah, I guess that's it for today. So just watch the video. You're doing that now. Great. Check the attendance. Look at the instructions today more than you have recently, because the 10 things in there are very important. And also look at that example that I gave you. Look at my notations. And if you have any questions, you can either send them in Google Classroom. You could type them in Outlook. You can send me a remind, or if you just want to do a face-to-face, we can meet up on Zoom. So I'll do whatever I can to help you, but I think you guys are doing great on this so far. And I think we're gonna end this really well. We're gonna get awesome grades on this. Why is my computer going in and out of focus? Oh, there we go. All right. See you guys next time.